In America, there are many controversial topics surrounding sex. One not talked about enough is how we teach sex to our children. The Ronald Reagan administration subsidized abstinence-only programs in 1981. In 1996, Bill Clinton created a system in which states who taught abstinence-only curriculum would receive federal funding. It wasn't until 2009 that Obama cut the federal funding for abstinence-only programs. However, many schools still teach abstinence-only education today.
I'm Dr. Kate Schaub. I'm an associate professor of interdisciplinary studies at Kennesaw State University. So thinking about abstinence-only education, we can probably just talk about it as curriculum designed to instruct students to not engage in sex outside of marriage. Abstinence-only education does not account for preventing STDs and STIs. It doesn't account for birth control. It doesn't account for healthy relationships and what to do when you're in an unhealthy relationship. And the reality is that education is meant to expose people to a variety of ideas. It should ultimately be grounded in discussion and engagement, and it should be supported by good data. And that is not the reality when it comes to abstinence-only education. So it just does not present students with enough opportunities to learn about themselves, learn about their bodies and other people's bodies, which means they could potentially go into adulthood without the knowledge that they need to be an advocate for themselves in terms of their bodies, in terms of their sexuality, in terms of their sexual preferences, and in terms of healthy relationships.
So the two main ways that I learned about sex was one through talking with friends and then through the internet. When I was in middle school, I had an abstinence-only sex class, and I am still practicing abstinence to this day. I will never forget, but our sex ed teacher, he starts out the class with, "What's up, guys? My name is Brad. My friends call me B-Rad." And then he goes to say, "Sex is awesome." But then he hits us with the, "But it's only awesome if you wait until marriage." It definitely affected me a lot because in the class there was a very heavy emphasis on the consequences of sex. I'm not ready for a child, and I do not want to have to deal with STDs. That is gross and nasty. People who don't value their bodies and they're searching for happiness, trying to use sex, that short-term pleasure, over actually choosing actions for long-term happiness, like establishing an actual relationship with someone. It's just detrimental to that happiness. I think practicing abstinence will help you be a happier person. The kids need to be taught the responsibilities of having sex, that it's not something that you just do for fun. It is a real sort of intense thing, and it has a lot of potential consequences to it. And I think people need to understand that.
The main way that I learned about sex, I had 3 older brothers. Whatever you're picking up on your own at that age, it's not always the best stuff. It's not always about safety. There's social media, internet, obviously sex is everywhere, porn is everywhere. Whether it's something that's considered explicit or whether it's something that's helping to sell like a blockbuster movie, it seems like that's where you get your understanding of the roles that people are supposed to play. But again, it's usually not always great, and it's not always stuff that you really believe in. You kind of have to learn for yourself. In our middle school sex ed, I know we covered a lot of information on puberty and on reproductive processes. I remember most vividly being presented with the abstinence card, more than I really remember learning about anything useful beyond physiological aspect of sex. I don't remember anyone covering of it being a natural process to like explore intimacy with someone that you love. It seemed more about the risks, what not to do, and then a commitment to not explore further. And again, at that age with social media, we already knew way more than they were telling us. As if that class impacted us, it was to diminish the concept of abstinence as a legitimate option. I guess if there's anything I wish I would have learned from sex ed that I didn't get from abstinence only, educating us on healthy relationships, self-respect and self-love, and how to identify an unhealthy relationship. All I know is that the abstinence only path was not effective for me or anyone I knew.
Abstinence is able to prevent unwanted pregnancies and STDs if a person is able to remain abstinent. However, it is not the only option.